everybody, Linda Bradley here with Princess House, and we are cooking again tonight. What is for dinner? The most hated question in America. So tonight I'm going to show you how to make a super easy recipe. It's actually called creamy asparagus chicken pasta, and it's one of those 30-minute meals, and I know you like them. So I started a little bit before you. I have my water already boiling. I'm getting ready for the pasta. So the one thing I want to let you know, and I try to remind you every time, it is very good to add salt to your pasta water, but you want to make sure that you add it once the water is already boiling. If you add salt to the water when it's cold, it is just going to sink to the bottom of the pot and it will pit your pot. So always make sure that you add it when it is already boiling, okay? It does not change it. A lot of people are like, oh, if you do it when it's already boiling, it'll, take it away. No, it won't. It's fine. Okay, so then what we're going to do is add the pasta. I have, what are these called? Rotini tonight, all right? And they're about 12 ounces of rotini. And we're just going to get ready to boil that back up again. I turned it down a little bit, so I'm going to turn it up high. And it needs to boil for about 10 minutes for al dente. It's your decision how hard or soft you like your pasta. And this is an asparagus meal, so we are going to add asparagus to it, but to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to add the asparagus in the last 5 minutes of the cooking. So this way I don't have to waste a whole nother pan. And now what we're going to do is just heat up our chicken. So we have 1 pound of boneless chicken breast that I've already cut up. And these pieces are just going to cook a little bit. You want to brown them on both sides. And you want to make sure that you do flip them so that you get both sides. The one mistake that a lot of people make when cooking is if things don't cook fast enough, they crank up the heat. And that's why things will stick and that's why things will burn. You need to be patient. Especially with our pans, they all have the aluminum in the bottom, which makes them really heat thermal, and you'll find that you just don't need a high heat. You can cook at low to medium high. You never really should put them on high heat. You just don't need it. Be patient. So this recipe, I have all of the spices ready to go. Spices are a very important part of your recipe, and in fact this time of year is a really good time of year because the spices normally go on sale with the holidays coming. So look through your spice cabinet and see what you have, and if you're running low on things or if they're so old that you have no idea how long you've had them for, just get some new ones. It makes a huge difference. You can smell it when it's a fresh spice, and you want to make sure that you have that flavor in your meals. If you do grow your own herbs, well, not that kind of herb. If you do grow your own spices, you can also dry them. So in our family, we grow, and by we, my husband's the farmer, basil and oregano. We grow all different kinds, mint and lavender, but the oregano and the basil are perfect to dry. I do use them fresh, but I will also use them, we dry them, and then we just save our containers, right, the spices, and then we just use them. Yeah, here you go, here's our basil one right here. And it makes it really nice because, again, you're gonna smell, well you can't, but I can definitely smell how fresh that is, and it really makes a difference. So go ahead and do a stock. See what you have as far as your inventory of your spices are concerned, and just load up, because especially if you guys are watching your sodium, and a lot of people are, the extra spices that you use will allow you to use less sodium, less salt. So I would recommend that you buy spices like oregano, basil, onion powder, garlic powder. If you like things a little spicy, I would also recommend that you buy chili powder and cumin and red pepper flakes. Those are all good for recipes, and it doesn't have to be super spicy, but I'm telling you, they make a huge difference. So, all right, my chicken is almost done. We have our water boiling here. So what's going to happen is with this chicken, I'm just going to brown it on both sides, and I just put a teaspoon of olive oil in the pan first, and then what we're going to do is once I have it all nice and brown, then I'm going to add the spices. So the spices that I'm going to add are, and we just talked about the different kinds, this is going to be 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of dried basil, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, a pinch of red pepper flakes, it just adds a little heat, and also 1½ teaspoons of minced garlic. And that you can also make that fresh as well. My husband's growing garlic, he's quite the farmer. And but you can also buy minced garlic in the store, right? They sell it in a little jar that needs to be refrigerated. So, all right, so it looks like our chicken, there you go, our chicken's all brown. All right, looks like it's cooked through, and then we're going to go ahead and add some of these spices to it, and then we're going to cook it a little bit longer. So we have all of these beautiful spices. Turn it up just a little bit, and then this is the garlic that we're going to add to it as well. And then we're going to mix it up and cook it for about 2 minutes longer. This is a 30-minute meal. So this is something that you can take when you come home from work and you're tired and you just don't feel like cooking. I'm really trying to help you with fun, easy recipes that will save you time, and you won't have to be in the takeout line. I don't want you spending your money needlessly with food that's not necessarily good for you. All right, let's see. My things are bubbling away. And then here's the other thing too, this is basically a 2-pan meal. So as far as washing, you're not taking a lot out, because I don't mind the cooking so much. I don't like the washing so much. So you can see that this is all starting to come together. I need another camera so it's right over top of it, right? We'll have to see if I can be a little bit more professional for you guys. Let's see what we got going. I could smell the difference just putting the spices in. And then what we're going to do now, we're going to add the creamy part. So in a couple minutes, I'm going to add the asparagus to the water. It only needs about 5 minutes, just again, to be firm. And then what I'm going to add is I have in here 1/2 cup of chicken broth and 1/4 cup of half and half. So half and half is really, it's basically half and half milk and heavy cream. So if you have heavy cream and milk, you can put them together. If you only have heavy cream, you can use that. It'll just be a little thicker. If you only have milk, it can use that, but it'll be a little thinner. So it just depends on what you put in things. And don't be afraid to play around with the recipe. If you don't have exactly what you need, experiment a little bit. How bad could it be? We're also going to add 4 ounces of cream cheese, and that's going to give the nice creamy flavor. The other nice thing about this specific recipe is it is gluten-free. If you use gluten-free noodles, then you're good to go, because there's nothing in anything else that I'm cooking that would have a gluten reaction. And if you're keto friendly, I think it's a keto recipe as well. All right, so I'm ready with my asparagus. I've already washed it. You trim up the edges of the asparagus. You just break off the very last little bit of it, and then everything else you can put in. So I'm just going to add the asparagus. That's like a little cheat. This way I don't have to add it separately. If you want to, you could grill it. You could roast it if you prefer it, but I don't see anything wrong with just doing it this way. All right, so now we're ready for the next part. I'm going to go ahead and add in the chicken broth, the half and half, the cream cheese, and then also grated Parmesan cheese. I did a recipe the other day, and I wanted to tell you about that one as well. And it had also some of the grated Parmesan cheese. This stuff, you have to buy the good stuff, all right? You can buy Parmesan cheese that's in, what do they have it in? Like a can, I guess, for lack of a better word. You know which one I'm talking about? And I'm sure most of you have that in your kitchen, and that's fine. But I'm telling you, to spend the extra money and buy the quality products makes a huge difference. Like some things I don't care about, I'll buy, not that I don't care about it, some things don't make a difference. Like for cream cheese, I will buy, store brand cream cheese. To me, I don't taste the difference. But the Parmesan cheese, freshly grated, makes a difference. So spend the money. You know what? There's some things that are worth it for you to spend the money on, and it makes a huge difference, right? Will you agree with me, ladies? What are we doing? Bras, shoes, those are all really important things. You'll find that they cost a little bit more to buy the good ones, but it makes a huge difference. Princess House, that's number one. All right, so this is all coming together. It's a nice cream sauce. Let's see how my asparagus is floating, so it's almost done. And then I have a trick for you here in my pan over here. So this pan is our 10 quart, and it has a strainer, which is really nice because it makes it really easy for you to strain your foods. But what I did was something a little bit different. I'm cooking it with the strainer in it. Can you see it? I'll pull it out in a little bit. I'm cooking it with the strainer. So when it's time for me to dump this, I'm actually just gonna pull this up, shake it off, and then dump it in, as opposed to having to walk over and go to where the sink is. All right, so that's how easy this recipe is. And then what will end up happening is once it cooks a little bit more, I'm just right now cooking it until the cheese is melting. I'll add the pasta and the asparagus. You can add a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, salt and pepper, and you're good to go. This is a 10-inch skillet, and I think I probably should have used a 12-inch because it's halfway full now, but when I put that pasta in, it's gonna really be full. Well, it's not the first time that I've messed up, and it won't be the last. I hope that you enjoy my recipes. I try so hard to bring you some fun recipes that are easy to cook, 30 minutes or less, and I really try to use real recipes. I don't like to use condensed soup, or they have so much sodium in that. I try to have items that you have in your home so that it's easy to make. And you know what? It's all about just planning your meals. That's the hardest part. We're also stressed. Everybody's busy. You're running 1,000 different directions. If you would plan your meals, it just would make life so much easier. Even if you literally just took it out the night before or the day of. Because that's the biggest problem. You get home from work and you never took anything out. I know your secrets. And then, because they're my secrets. And then what are you going to do, right? How are you going to make dinner? And then you end up ordering out. And like I said, it just becomes more trouble than it's worth. All right, we are ready. Want to see my secret? All right, let me turn this down just a little bit. Let me turn this one off. So I hope you can see it. Can you see? Yeah, you can see it. So I'm just going to shake it loose. I like this pan too because these have silicone bases on them, so you'll notice that I'm not even using hot pads because I don't need to. Remember how I told you I needed a bigger pan? All right, let me do a little bit first. And then see if I can get this in here. We have a casualty. Ooh, well, it looks delicious for sure. I'm just going to do it a little bit at a time. I'll add the rest. And so here it is. Here's your one pan. Keep in mind that, again, you can add other things to it. So if you like roasted red peppers, you can add that. You can add tomatoes, like little cherry tomatoes. Oh, I think I have some of them. You could use this with green beans. It's your decision what you want to add to it. All right, let me see if I can put this in. I definitely needed a bigger pan. Can you see it? It's like exploding over here. All right, so here's your 30-minute meal. I don't even think it was 30 minutes. Well, it took a little bit for the water to boil. And the other thing too I want to let you know is always let your pans cool down a little bit before you put them in the sink. So a lot of people, men especially, will take a hot pan such as this and put it right in the sink and pour the cold water in it. They like to hear it go shh, right? You are warping your pans by doing that. Please tell your husbands not to do that, all right? So I'm just gonna let this cook a little bit because I want it to sop up this beautiful juice. And then I will show you the finished product. So this is it, creamy chicken asparagus pasta.